The haunting of Harrow Hall. Harrow Hall stood at the edge of Crestwood University, a monolithic structure built in the late 19th century. Once a prestigious dormitory, it had become an infamous legend among students, shrouded in tales of hauntings and inexplicable phenomena. The building, with its Gothic architecture and ivy-clad walls, loomed ominously, casting long shadows over the campus. In the fall of 2024, a new group of students moved into Harrow Hall. Among them was Emily, a sophomore who had been assigned a single room on the third floor. She was thrilled by the independence, but couldn't ignore the whispers and warnings about the dormitory's dark past. According to campus lore, a series of mysterious deaths had occurred there over the decades, starting with the building's first caretaker who hung himself in the basement. Emily, skeptical of ghost stories, brushed off the warnings. She settled into her room, unpacking her books and decorating the walls with posters. The first few nights were uneventful, filled with the usual hustle and bustle of campus life. But as the weeks passed, strange occurrences began to plague her. It started with small things: books falling off shelves, her desk chair moving ever so slightly, and the persistent feeling of being watched. Emily dismissed these incidents as the effects of a drafty old building. However, one night, she awoke to the sound of whispers. Sitting up in bed, she strained to hear, but the voices were too faint to understand. As she turned on her bedside lamp, the whispers ceased abruptly. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Emily started asking around. She learned from her hallmates about a particular room on the fourth floor that had been sealed off for years. They called it Room 406. Supposedly, it was the epicenter of the hauntings. Legend had it that a student named Alice had gone mad and taken her own life there in the 1950s. Since then, every occupant of Room 406 had met a grisly fate. Driven by a mix of curiosity and fear, Emily decided to investigate. Late one night, she crept up to the fourth floor, the hallway dimly lit and eerily silent. The door to Room 406 was boarded up, but she noticed a small gap where the wood had splintered. Peering through, she saw an old-fashioned room, untouched by time. Dust-covered furniture and yellowed wallpaper hinted at its long abandonment. Suddenly, she felt a cold breath on her neck. Spinning around, she saw nothing, but the temperature had dropped drastically. Shivering, she fled back to her room. That night, the whispers returned, louder and more insistent. They seemed to be calling her name. Over the next few days, the hauntings escalated. Emily woke to find her belongings rearranged, cryptic messages scrawled on her mirror in condensation, and a pervasive sense of dread that made it hard to breathe. One night, she awoke to the sound of her closet door creaking open. Heart pounding, she watched in terror as a shadowy figure emerged, its form indistinct but undeniably human. It moved slowly towards her, its eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. Emily screamed and the figure vanished, but the encounter left her shaken. She decided to leave Harrow Hall, packing her bags hastily. As she descended the stairs, she noticed a group of students gathered in the common room, their faces pale and anxious. They were talking about a girl who had gone missing from the fourth floor the night before. Emily's blood ran cold. She had to warn them. "Room 406, she said breathlessly. "It's haunted. We need to get out of here." The students exchanged uneasy glances. One of them, a tall guy with dark hair, nodded. "We've all heard the stories, but nobody believed it until now." Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery and find the missing girl, the group decided to confront the spirit in Room 406. Armed with flashlights and a Ouija board borrowed from a campus club, they made their way to the fourth floor. The air grew colder with each step. Prying off the boards from the door of Room 406, they entered cautiously. The room was just as Emily had seen through the gap, but now it felt oppressively dark, the air thick with malevolence. They set up the Ouija board on the dusty floor, their flashlights casting eerie shadows on the walls. Hands trembling, they placed their fingers on the planchette. "Is anyone here with us?" Emily asked. The planchette moved slowly, spelling out yes. "What do you want?" another student asked. The planchette spelled help. "Who are you?" Emily asked. The answer sent chills down their spines. "Alice." Suddenly, the room grew colder. and a loud banging noise echoed through the walls. The flashlight beams flickered, and a shadowy figure appeared in the corner. It was the same figure that had appeared to Emily, now more distinct. A young woman in a tattered dress, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. "Leave this place," Alice's voice echoed, a mix of anger and desperation. "They won't let me rest." The students, paralyzed with fear, watched as Alice pointed towards the floor. Realizing she was trying to tell them something, they pried up the floorboards where she pointed. Beneath the rotting wood, they found a hidden compartment containing an old diary. Emily opened the diary, its pages yellowed and brittle. It belonged to Alice, detailing her descent into madness as she was tormented by the spirits of Harrow Hall. The final entry revealed that the spirits were those of students who had died tragically within the dorm, their souls trapped by a curse placed on the building by the vengeful caretaker who had hung himself. Determined to break the curse, Emily and her friends decided to perform a cleansing ritual they found in the back of the diary. As they began the ritual, the air grew thick with a palpable darkness. The spirits of the tormented students appeared, swirling around them, their faces contorted in anguish. Chanting the words from the diary, the group focused all their energy on freeing the trapped souls. The room shook violently, and a deafening roar filled the air. One by one, the spirits began to dissipate, their expressions softening as they found peace. Finally, Alice appeared once more, her form now radiant and serene. "Thank you," she whispered before vanishing. The room fell silent, the oppressive atmosphere lifting. The students, exhausted but relieved, knew the curse had been broken. Harrow Hall would no longer be a place of fear and torment. In the days that followed, the missing girl was found wandering the campus, disoriented but unharmed. Emily and her friends, now bonded by their harrowing experience, moved out of Harrow Hall, sharing their story with anyone who would listen. The dormitory, once a symbol of fear, became a testament to their courage and the power of confronting the unknown.